Welcome to Chez, Genèse, the place of new beginnings. My name is Catherine Hubert, and I founded and own a French-inspired cafe where, as a team, we are on a mission to change the way our world views and employs adults with disabilities. Our restaurant was born and is based in Greensboro, North Carolina, and that's where we practice and teach our mission and model. This is our channel where we dive in deep to who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Our hope is that this content is empowering to disabled and non-disabled humans alike, and that no matter what perspective you are coming from, whether that's employer, employee, parent, friend, or Chez Genèse fan, you feel welcomed, you learn something new, and you walk away with a deeper appreciation and understanding of humanity. Hey everybody, welcome back. We have been talking the past 2 weeks about disability employment myths. We broke that up into 2 different parts. So if you missed those, check out both part 1 and part 2. There are 8 disability employment myths total that we covered, 4 and 4. But today we are diving into what prevents or holds employers back from hiring people with disabilities in the first place. Obviously, this is something that's going to have some level of nuance to it and is going to be different depending on the employer. But we're going to go over about 4 different reasons that I commonly hear when we're doing coaching or workshops with other businesses. So these are some things that I've heard more than once and seem to be kind of a common theme. And then just know that, as always, there are going to be things that fall outside of all of these things that I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. The first thing, which I think is the overall umbrella that probably informs a lot of the different reasons why people are hesitant or hold back from hiring employees with disabilities, and that is simply just the fear of the unknown. Not everyone has personal experience with the disability community, and that can sometimes be intimidating just from a standpoint of, I don't really know what disability looks like. I don't really know how that shows up in life or in work. It can be overwhelming or daunting to step into something that you've never stepped into before. So a lot of that, I think, is a lot of the work that we are doing or trying to do is kind of just breaking the ice and removing that barrier of the unknown. Like, here's something that maybe you haven't had experience with previously. Let's introduce you to a different way of doing business, to humans with disabilities, to what that may look like in the workplace, and just giving people an opportunity to know something that they maybe previously didn't. Building off of that, the second reason that I think people get held up sometimes in employing people with disabilities is having an outdated or a limited understanding of what disability actually looks like. Disability is not something that has been portrayed either at all or oftentimes accurately in the media, whether that's movies, TV shows, music, art, etc. So areas that someone, even if you don't have personal connections or personal ties, there's a level of exposure or information or education that we get from the content that we consume. And a lot of that information either doesn't exist, it's very, very small, or it's very limited in the depiction that's being given, or it's outdated in the language that's being used, or the models or the worldview that's being used is not current. Because of that, I think that can and does shape the way that people view disability and can unfairly hinder someone from stepping into disability employment, being afraid that everyone with a disability is going to have a tantrum while they're on the job. The fear that someone with a disability cannot handle stress or a fast-paced environment. The fear that someone with a disability may have medical needs that you are not equipped to handle. The fear that someone with a disability is limited in their verbal communication skills and you may not be able to understand them, or vice versa. There's a lot of different ways that I see this more narrow view of disability play out in terms of the hesitations or the holdups that people may have. I think that there are a lot of employers and a lot of humans who are willing to step outside of their comfort zone and are willing to learn and to do something new. But the third roadblock that I think holds people back from hiring people with disabilities is just the capacity and the energy and the time to learn something new. I don't think that it's for a lack of wanting or being willing to enter in, but instead just, especially for business owners and for a lot of like restaurant owners that we talk to, the margin for time and energy is just really small. And when that's the case, even though there's a desire to step into learning a different way of business, of being willing to look at their business and see where they could make some changes or adaptations, they maybe just feel like their hands are tied in terms of what their resources are. And that's totally fair, and I think that's where, hopefully through the work that we're doing, we can introduce people to some small and just like step-by-step changes that you can be making so that you're not trying to redo your entire infrastructure all at one time. That there are actionable steps that you can take to make your spaces more inclusive, to make them more adaptive, to make them more welcoming towards people with disabilities. And then that can be still somewhat of a slow process as you build up the knowledge, build up the capacity, build up the space to really make some larger shifts within your business. Number 4, lastly for today, is just talking about not knowing or understanding how someone with a disability could already easily fit into the business that you have. Again, some of this touches on some of the other pain points that we've already mentioned in this video, that there's an outdated understanding of what disability looks like, that there's a limited view of what disability looks like, and going off of that is thinking that because of those things, there's only one type of job or one way that a disabled employee could fit into your business model and be successful. And so then that does feel really daunting or overwhelming of like, well, I don't know that I have that position available, or I don't know that I have the support that might be needed, or I don't know if we have the ability to train someone in an industry that maybe they're not familiar with yet, etc. And so that's where I think remembering or learning that there are so many different people in the world. Some of them have disabilities and some of them do not. But all of those people are different, and all of them are going to come into life and come into work differently. And so there are absolutely people with disabilities who could be a good fit for what you need, just like there are a lot of people without disabilities that could be a good fit for what you need. There's so many different ways for hiring and training and employment to look, and there are so many different people who can fit and meet those needs. And that's where, as we continue to push for equal employment for people with disabilities, we're really asking for that standard and that opportunity to become level, so that it's not like here there's, in a business that has 20 job openings, we feel like 19 of them would be a fit for someone without a disability, and we feel like this one over here would be a fit for someone with a disability. And then it's much harder to find the one person that would be a fit for that one job, instead of saying, we have 20 jobs that someone could do here. There could be 20 people without disabilities or 20 people with disabilities that could fit any number of those jobs, and just being willing to expand the opportunities and to open up your own perspective of what's available. So, all that to say, scooting back in here to get up close and personal as we recap that. It is totally fair, and I should have maybe started the video this way and I didn't, so my apologies, but it's totally fair to be afraid and overwhelmed by something that you've never done before. If it is at all helpful, I was very scared and very intimidated to start this business that I started. And there are a lot of different reasons for that, but one of the big ones is that I really didn't have a lot of experience working with adults with disabilities when I opened Chez Genèse. I had a good amount of experience working with kids with disabilities, but I was like, there's a difference between kids and adults, and the support that's needed and the coaching that's needed and just the life experience that is there. And so I very much had some self-doubt in the beginning phases of like, am I going to be good at this job? Because I'm starting something that I have experience maybe as a whole, but I don't have all of the specific experience yet. But I had principles, I had values, I still did have experience both in the restaurant world and in the disability world. So it's like, we're going to put all of that together and we're going to give this my very best shot, because it's something that I believe in strongly and that I've been working towards for a long time. So just know that, yes, I'm in it, and I set out really intentionally to do it, and there was also still a decent amount of fear and intimidation in my own abilities to actually launch the thing that I was launching. And then you get into it and you're like, okay, we're doing it. We can do it. There's things that I still learn every single flipping day. And I think that will probably always be the case. But I just do want to extend a validation of, absolutely, when you're doing something new that you've never done before, it's going to be intimidating. It's going to cause you some level of questioning, potentially some level of doubt. But it's those good new experiences that scare us a little bit that are so helpful in reminding us of what we truly stand for, what we really believe in, how we want to exist in the world, the kind of impact that we want to make in the world, the changes that we want to see happen. It reminds us of our humanity, which helps us to connect to other humans as well. So I am in support of doing the work, educate yourself, show up and do the things that scare you, and see what kind of change that makes in your life and in the lives of others. So I think that's it. I feel like I'm about to sneeze again. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for this week. People are willing to learn, to be exposed to new environments, to... I'm wondering... Someone just set the alarm remotely, probably thinking like, oh, it didn't get set. But it's actually because I'm in this space. So I might need to disarm that real fast, because otherwise I'm gonna move and it's gonna go off. Hold on. Okay, I really appreciate people being on top of it and being like, wait a second, that didn't get taken care of. And I was like, I'm about to end up having to deal with the when it goes off and detects that there's a human in here. Yeah, it was Susan. She just texted me, alarm is set, FYI. Thank you, Susan. I'm actually still here. Okay, so that threw me off. And then number 4, lastly,